digital studio inside our Abingdon headquarters. This is CAMEOpod, a podcast production of EO. My name is Ryan Dye. I'm the manager of marketing and communications with EO, and today it's all about sharing. Talking about our new shared services pilot program and how it's helping childcare providers in Southwest Virginia. We have a great talk ahead with Lindsay Holderfield. So with that said, let's get right to our conversation. All right, today I'm sitting here with Lindsay Holderfield. She is the Director of Employer Services with EO. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on again. Last time we talked to you, it was with a WEO in mind, and today we're going to switch services into shared services, no pun intended. First, before we talk about that program, let's tell us more about yourself.
Okay, so Lindsay Holderfield. I've been working in the nonprofit and community development world in Southwest Virginia for the last 20 years or so, and have done a lot of different things over the years, but mostly around education outreach and education programming in the nonprofit world. During part of that time, I also helped start and run a small Montessori school that had a preschool program, and then directed a Montessori school in Boone, North Carolina for 4 years before coming here.
I love Boone. So talking about the Shared Service Alliance, in your own words, can you tell us a little about what problem is it solving? What is the program? How did it come to be? Sort of the background on it.
Sure. So there are a lot of different versions of shared services alliances in the country, and ours is focused exclusively on supporting childcare owners and directors and operators. And it's really focused on the business aspects of operating a childcare center or family day home. So what we are looking to do is give access to administrative services and business supports that small businesses wouldn't typically have access to. So, for example, things like payroll processing that you would be outsourcing if you were a small childcare provider because you probably don't have the capacity and time to do that yourself. That's just one of the many services that we're offering. But really, the way it came to be is just recognizing this need in the childcare community. Most childcare directors and owners and operators come from having been teachers and been caregivers. And so very often they don't have management training or business training or a background in those things. Sometimes they do, but most often they come from an education background. And so suddenly they find themselves in the position of owning or operating a small business, essentially, but it's a small business built around caring for children. And so we wanted to provide extra support on that side of things so that they can focus their energy and attention on the thing that they're passionate about and why they got into the business in the beginning, and serving the families and the children that they care for. So can we talk about a little bit about reducing the costs, which is a big part of this? So yeah, how does this program maintain the quality standards while also helping reduce costs for these providers? Yeah, that's a great question. So there are several different ways that we're looking at cost reduction for the providers. Eventually, we are going to get into some bulk ordering and procurement on behalf of the providers to get some deeper discounts where, if you're a small provider with just a very small staff, you can't order in bulk because you don't go through things fast enough, but we can order in bulk and then divvy things out between multiple providers and get some deeper discounts on things. So that's one way that we can save some money. There are a lot of things that we know that all providers are using in the way of like cleaning supplies, for instance, so that we know that if we could get some good bulk discounts on those things, we can pass those savings on to the providers, and that can save them some money. Another way that we're saving the money right now, thanks to our funding for this program as a startup, is that we're able to provide some technology and software for them at no cost at all. So if they were using a different software to run their business, they're able to cancel that and save that money while we provide that to them as a benefit of being in the alliance. So that's another big one. And then just through some basic coaching, we're giving them all kinds of business coaching, one-on-one support, templates and tools for financial management and fiscal responsibility, hooking them into accounting practices and good tax attorney advice to save money on their own taxes, making sure that they're not leaving money on the table at the end of the year, those kinds of things. So they're multifaceted approaches to how we're trying to come at that so that we can save them money in lots of different ways.
You talked about technology there for a second.
Yeah.
So what role is the Alliance going to play as far as communication, resource sharing, anything like on that technological side that they may not have access to?
Yeah. One of the most exciting things that we're doing, I think, is for all of we have 3 levels of membership in the Alliance, tiers 1, 2, and 3. And for our tier 1 members, which is our highest level of membership, we are providing subscriptions to a platform called Playground. And that's what's called a CCMS, a childcare management software, that essentially works for all the operational day-to-day stuff that a childcare operator does. It will do their books for them, income and expenses. Their staff can use it to clock in and out so they can monitor timesheets, but it also allows teachers to track things about the children throughout the day, to take pictures. It works as a communication system between the childcare provider and the parents. So parents can get pictures of their children throughout the day and see what their kids are up to. They can communicate back and forth through the app without having to have people's personal phone numbers and trade text messages and things like that. It's a really robust program. It does a lot of things, and it's a wonderful solution to daily operations. And we're able to provide that at no cost for all of our tier 1 members. So that's been really exciting. There's a lot of evidence to show that when a provider is using a CCMS program, they are less likely to be accruing bad debt. So they're getting paid on time. They're getting paid every time. Parents are more likely to pay and pay on time when they can do it with a couple clicks on their phone and do it digitally than if you're, say, collecting cash or paper checks from people. So we're encouraging all of our Alliance members to use some kind of CCMS, but we're just really excited that we get to provide it for them at that tier 1. As far as resource sharing, another thing that we're trying to do is create a place where we can put guidance documents and tools, budget templates, things like that, for our members to go to. We're also providing our tier 1 and tier 2 members with memberships to the Virginia Shared Services Network, which is a statewide platform that has hundreds of those kinds of templates and documents that providers can use and edit and alter and use for their own purposes, put their logos on things, all kinds of stuff like that. So connecting them to existing resources is a big part of it, in addition to things that we're creating specifically for our membership.
So you kind of talked about your background in early education. Mm-hmm. Are there any interesting trends happening within childcare education sector that pop out to you right now?
Yes, always. I think one of the really unfortunate trends that's happening in childcare right now, and this has been through the pandemic, but especially hard-hitting post-pandemic, is that we have massive staffing shortages. That's across the board in all sectors of education, but it's hit early childhood education really hard. Early childhood education is highly regulated because we're caring for children who are the most vulnerable in the population. So there are ratios that have to be maintained between the number of adults that you have and how many children you're caring for. So there are requirements for how many adults you have to have on your staff to be able to operate. So when people are out, or you lose people, or you can't find someone to hire to fill a vacant position, it can compromise your ability to actually operate your business at all. It's a huge problem. It's something that we talked about last time with the workforce development program. We're addressing that in a really concrete way through that program. But from a shared services perspective, we're focusing our energy a lot on employee retention and staff retention, workplace culture. We know that, the best antidote to not being able to hire is to keep the staff that you have. and childcare wages are not high. And so you really have to love the work, and you have to love coming to work. And the best way to achieve that as a manager or director is to make sure that you have a good environment for your staff to come into every day. So we're really coaching along the lines of how to retain the staff that you have, how to hire good candidates and get quality staff that will stick around, and that you can mentor and help develop professionally into these, wonderful childcare teachers.
So I want to talk about the business challenge that you guys have been doing. Great success, I think, so far, but give us an update.
Yeah, so we are operating a childcare business challenge, which is a series of 6 weeks of classes and workshops on different topics each week that cover as many of the aspects of operating a childcare business as we can cover in 6 weeks. So everything from, how to start a business to financial management, licensing, quality. We're bringing in experts and guest speakers each week to talk to the contestants, and we have a great group of contestants. It's a combination of existing childcare providers and people who want to start new businesses, and we're very fortunate that we've got funding from several different organizations that are going to provide the prize money for the winners. So this is a competitive process. Throughout the course of the 6 weeks, the contestants are working on writing a business plan. And at the end, they have to turn in their business plan and also do a pitch presentation for their business plan. And then we have a panel of outside judges who are going to score the business plans and the pitches. And we're going to award some $10,000 prizes to the winners at the end of our process.
How many do we have in it?
So we have 7 active participants right now. We actually have a couple of people who are not competing, but they're participating in the classes. But we have 7 actual contestants.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Especially for something, it's a pilot, right? It's never been done before.
Absolutely.
At least on our level. Right.
So there are business challenges all over the country, and like Washington County's been doing theirs for, I think, 11 years. Floyd has one. There are several throughout the state. So the model is very similar. But as far as I know, I've never seen one specific just to one industry and just for childcare. So it's really exciting that we have that many people just interested in childcare businesses.
Put you on the spot a little bit, but
yeah.
Where are these businesses from, or potentially would be if they're new?
That's okay. So we have right now 3 counties that are represented in that group of 7. They're in Washington, Smith, and Russell counties.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when we're looking forward at this program, this is year 1 of this program. So still very, very new in its infancy.
Yep.
What do you envision for future growth and expansion of this program?
Yeah, it's exciting that we really are already thinking about that and kind of have been from the beginning. But our first goal is to enroll as many providers as we can in our region. We want to make sure that as many people as possible who want these services can get involved in the Alliance. But we also want to expand those upper tiers of membership. So we want to be able to offer more tier 1 memberships than we are, and more tier 2 memberships, so that we can do some of those paid services that childcare providers may not be able to afford right now. We'd like to be able to provide that to more people. So that's what we're currently working on. Long term, we would love for the Alliance to be serving, hundreds of childcare providers. And we know that just in our current programming, some of the other departments work with about 220 providers in our region. And so we'd love to be working with as many of them as possible and spreading the services as widely as we can. And then also expanding which services we provide. One of the things in this pilot year that we're doing is tracking the requests that we get from members about which services they're using the most, because you get a big membership package, but you don't necessarily need all the things. And so we're trying to figure out and pinpoint what are the things that are most needed, that are most important to people, and what maybe did we not think of that might come up that they might ask for that we could help with. So we want to be able to be flexible and expand in that way too.
Which services are the hot ones right now?
Well, we just had one of our coordinators out yesterday doing some file audits. So that's one of the services we provide, is that we will come to your center and we will go through your staff files and go through your children's files and make sure that they are in full compliance with state licensing guidelines, whether you're licensed or not. We believe that adhering to those practices is best practice. And so we've created some tools to share with, some checklists for the files to share with our providers. And we'll literally go sit in your office and go through all your files and organize them for you. So that one is a big one.
I guess, what are some of the other key, you said it's a big package, but like, so what are some of the key things that they get?
Sure. So depending on what tiered membership they're at, the first tier members get that childcare management software. Our team is trained on the back end of that, so that once they're in, we have access through our Alliance dashboard to help them with anything. So for instance, when people are switching maybe from paper to this new digital platform, we can go help them get all their kids into the system, get all their families into the system so that everybody can start using it. We'll do that. The Virginia Shared Services Network is sort of a standalone membership that we're including in Tier 1 and Tier 2, but they take care of that on their own. Payroll processing, payroll taxes, we run through a platform called Gusto, so we're providing that as a paid service as well. And then there are a lot of other things that we're doing that are really about our team mentoring and coaching and helping. So we'll help people who want to get licensed navigate that process. We know all the ins and outs, and we have the training about, what all it takes to get licensed by the state Department of Education. And so we can walk someone through that and hold their hand every step of the way. We can do that same thing with getting enrolled in the state subsidy program so that they can be a subsidy provider and provide care to those lower income families who qualify for subsidy. We can help them get enrolled in the USDA's food program, the CACFP program, where they get reimbursed for the healthy meals that they prepare and feed to the children they care for. So we can help with filling out the paperwork, filing the paperwork. We can call and sit on hold to ask questions when a child care provider doesn't have that luxury because they're in a classroom all day. So any of those kind of outside programs that people want to participate in, we've built the expertise to be able to kind of be a stand-in for them and help push that process along a little faster and more efficiently than they might be able to on their own.
That's awesome. If somebody wants to join the Alliance or just wants to learn more about it, how can they get in contact with you?
Sure. So they can email me at lholderfield@eoco.org. We also have an Alliance membership form on our website, and so that's available to fill out online. And that's the first step, but calling or emailing is also completely fine just to get started, and then we can send the links to the membership. And then we do a really in-depth onboarding interview with each provider that we work with, so that it's a very high-touch process. We want to get to know everybody's individual needs, because our experience thus far is that every provider, their needs are just a little different. And so we really want to be able to tailor what we're doing to each person and what they need.
That's awesome. Is there anything else you want to touch on or highlight before we wrap this up?
I don't think so. I mean, right now, I think just if you know child care providers who might be interested in this program, please do get in touch. We're really eager to talk to people and also to know that it is tailored and it can be customized. And so there's no cost to providers for the program at this point, so that's really important. We are working to always keep it free for the first year as long as we can. If we're able to keep it free beyond the first year or keep it at a very nominal cost for providers. That's our goal.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming back by and joining us again.
Sure. Thank you.
No problem. Follow along with the work we're doing on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, TikTok, and LinkedIn.